I was just asking because a lot of people say, "Well, Goku was a better one." I was like, but he wasn't there. He was always the
He,
absent father.
he was very absent father, but he was doing some crazy things. But anyway, let's jump into it.
I'm
Yo,
sorry. No,
it's all good. Good stuff. Good stuff. We kicked up. Yo, I appreciate you showing me the Instagram thing. I've done it before, but finally got it kicking again. But
Hey,
yo,
no
man,
worries.
thank you for being on the show. We had to do this again. I really enjoyed our last conversation. My listeners really enjoyed the last conversations. Numbers are going crazy for me right now in regards to listenership. So I hope it's doing the same for you as well.
Oh yeah.
So we have to catch back up, man. If you could let the people know your name, what it is you do, and how they can find you.
Yeah, so my name is Anthony Weaver. I am the host of the About That Wallet podcast, where we help you build strong financial habits. And this is a lifestyle podcast. So we helping you build confidence in the way how you spend money, make money, talk about money, even just spreading it out if you want to at the club and not feel bad about it because you have that confidence. So you can find me on all the social platforms at About That Wallet. When I say all of them, I really mean all of them.
Yeah,
So
you are. You are on
yeah.
all of them about that wallet. That's great. That how good does it feel to identify a name and then no one else have it? Are you the only one with the name?
Yes, I am the only one with the name. However, there are other wallet podcasts that I'm keep bumping up against, but it took me a while to kind of get the SEO up right. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure that I was putting out enough content constantly so
Mm-hmm.
that there's no difference between, hey, Anthony Weaver and About That Wallet. You getting both. So
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get all of it. So some of my old stuff, I mean, granted, I don't have the SEO set up right for them, but I
Mm-hmm.
am slowly going back because I have over 270 episodes at this point. Got a lot
Congratulations.
to go through. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Once you reach that 250 mark, I feel everything starts shifting in regards to SEO. People don't go this far. So for anybody out there that wants to start podcasting, I feel like the number is between 250 and 300. Once you get there, currently, because it might change. Tomorrow's not going to be 600. You know what I mean? The way these
Right.
people are doing it right now. But currently it's between 250 and 300. And I see what you're doing. Man, congratulations on speaking. How long have you been speaking at conferences? How long has that been going on?
Oh, that just started last fall, actually.
What made you do
So
that?
one because I saw other people speaking and I was like, how are they doing that? And then also I was like, well, because I'm about that wallet. I'm like, well, how can I go to these conferences for free?
Yeah.
So I was like we go on and apply. And on top of not just applying, but also how can I add value to the community? It
Mm,
wasn't just like I'm applying to be a speaker. I just want to give back because they've given me so much
mhm,
when it comes to the networking, to the
mhm,
guests on the shows, to the information,
mhm.
to people that I would never been in a room with if I didn't have this podcast. So that is my thing to give back to the community. And one of the things that I found out listening to other people, and one of my strong suits that I'm focusing on is burnout. So that's
Mhm.
what I've been mostly talking about over and over again because I mean, we don't get paid. A lot of times we don't get paid. Most podcasters don't get paid to do this, but we
Yep.
do this because it's fun. We enjoy it. And I just want to make sure that everybody continue to have fun and enjoy this.
Well, I'm one that loves getting paid. I love fighting for getting paid. I fight for that. And I'm a podcaster that does get paid. Not a lot for it, but I make sure to get paid for it because the we as podcasters have to understand, especially us that have created it from scratch and now actually have a community, micro influencing is powerful.
Yeah.
You can pay for that. Oh, I want to get Ford, or I want to get the big dog. I want to get Coke. I want to be Coca-Cola. Okay, that's cool. A lot of those are going to be bots that are going to attach, or high marketing, or a marketing firm that's of a prestige with the money and everything. But you're going to get a lot of bots. You're going to have to weed through a lot of junk, and then you're not going to get what you're looking for. Someone to actually believe and identify and want to be a part of the product. Where micro influencing, somebody's going to buy. You can talk to that person. They're going to let you know what's good, what's bad. So we just got to start putting a price on it. Jay-Z said something, or at least I read a meme. I'm a meme reader, and it had Jay-Z on it at least.
Right.
and it said, someone was complaining to Jay-Z how he had so many hit songs and he hit the billboard this many times, but he doesn't have the money that Jay-Z has, or he doesn't have none of the, as far as financial success. And Jay-Z said, how much you sell your CDs for? He was like, I was giving it
Mm,
off for free. Jay-Z said, I don't give it out for free.
there you go. Sorry, I'm
Now
still
do you
coming up.
think?
Yeah,
Get your
yeah.
juice, get your
This
juice,
is
bro.
my mocktail mimosa over here. You know what I'm saying? Gotta help everybody else out.
Hey, all gas, no brakes,
So,
man. I do not judge.
but yeah, because first off, do want to give a shout out to Money Talk with Tiff. She's pretty much been my podcast mentor since I met her at FinCon in 2022. Yeah, my
What's up,
very
Money
first one.
Talk? What's up, Money Talk with Tiff?
Yeah.
She's on YouTube.
Yeah, she's everywhere. So, because what you're talking about, far as being out everywhere and being free, think about the Coca-Cola effect. I just recently had an interview with Brandon Berkmeyer. He just recently came out of a book called The Front Center Leadership. So one of the things that he was talking about in there is like if you want to be like Coca-Cola, because he used to advertise for them, they're a distribution company. You don't just find them in a Coca-Cola vending machine. No, you find them everywhere. Meaning like the bookstore. You might even find them inside the library or even in a corner store. They everywhere. So if you can control the distribution, oh yeah, somebody's gonna buy it. So that's the reason why, like with my show, I'm trying to figure out like how am I maximizing my reach so that anybody, no matter where they are, they can find me. And that's one of the things I noticed with like a lot of the smaller shows. They're not reaching out as far as they can.
Give me an example.
An example is like because I'm actually on a podcast distribution platform in Africa called AfriPods. A lot of people don't know about it, but you can actually just go to these different sites and actually put in your RSS feed. Once you have that, you can do that. So it's another one called Haiti, HAYTI podcast. They have one. Good Pods is another one. Shout out to them. They've been doing a lot of stuff on X. And then you got
I want to add something to that. Another good thing to do though also is attach yourself to good hosting platform, because your hosting platform should also be identifying those locations where you're not at and placing it there, because that helps. But you're absolutely correct. When I first started podcasting, I Googled where should I be, and I didn't have no idea. This is before AI. And it told
a
me
lot of this was from
before,
AI.
this is before AI, man.
Yeah.
And it told me, and I made sure to put my RSS feed there. And now with doing so, my RSS feed ends up places I didn't even put it. I haven't even placed it. I'm like, okay, I'm there. Yeah, it's everywhere now. It's literally, when I tell people, just Google it.
Yeah.
And put podcasts, you'll find me.
Yeah. And Tiff, I gotta shout out Tiff. She's great with the blogging side of the house because I'm trying to get there. But her SEO is amazing. So even if you type in Money Talk, top one right there.
Nice.
Like, so SEO is her jam. I don't want to touch her jam yet. I'm still learning it. But at least from my end, my little 1% take from what she's been able to give me in showing like the power of, distribution has been amazing. Like I gotta give her hands down for that one. Matter of fact, I give her a round of applause for that one.
Shout out Money Talk with Tiff. Live and direct. Shout her out. And I said, yeah, she's watching it from YouTube. It's what I like about StreamYard. I could put it in all these locations and anybody can watch it from there, man. That's pretty damn dope. Yeah. So let me ask you a question, man. You're all about finance. Are you about saving money when you on your podcast, or you about making money? Which way do you lean the most?
Well, I lean mostly on the defense. And the defense is like, how do you save money, find your money so that you can spend on the things that you want to and actually start building up your retirement. So focusing on the budgeting, I know it's a common term for budgeting, but really it's a spending plan. So really pretty much placing your money where it needs to go. However, that's where 80%, if not, I would say maybe 92% of America is at right now. They just don't know where their money's at. They keep hollering out they broke. So obviously with inflation, you can still cut back and everything like that. Yes, you could play enough defense, but there's only to a certain point you can do that. So this season, this year, I say I started in like July to kind of start focusing on the offense. How that we can make more money. And because that, we already tapped out. Most people have already done what they felt that they could do. Now we got to start playing that offense. So when it comes to that offense, it opens up the world. It's a world of possibility.
Mhm.
Because like how we talk about the podcast side of the house, yeah, we like to make money, but there's like so many different ways we can make money.
Mhm.
We can do blog posts, we can do ads, we can have
Mhm.
AdSense on the blogs, on the videos, like YouTube money. Like there's so
Mhm.
many things. You got your shirts, your merch, you have speaking gigs, you know what I'm saying? Like Rake and Go Radio. We can actually be showcased on the news. Like this thing can take us so many different places. Even pay for like my newsletters. Like I'm actually planning on building out a digital magazine,
Mhm.
financial magazine, and probably do like Oprah, just me in the front of it every day. Like
But everything that you're saying is true, but takes a lot of hours of
it does.
free.
Hmm.
How many years have you been podcasting now?
4.
4 years, and you're
Yeah.
finally, I would say, breaking the ice.
Yep. I would say at least if you think about it, if you give anything 10 years, I'll say
ten
give
years.
anything 10 years. Because the
Yep.
reason why I say 10 years is
Yep. I agree.
because think about there's a book, I cannot recall the name of the book, but they were saying you can be a millionaire. Anybody could be a millionaire in 10 years. All you
Yeah.
have to do is just set it, constantly compounding it, and constantly doing the rhythm. It's boring. But after those 10 years, and people be looking at you like, man, how did you get $1 million? I want to do that too. And you just tell them the boring process. Nobody, a lot of people don't have that stamina. They
A
don't
lot
have
of
what it takes
people
to make it
do
work.
not. A lot of people do not, and they're not supposed to. It would be a perfect world if they did.
Right. That's true.
This is not for the lighthearted.
Mm-mm.
I'm on my 8th year.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
on my
And
eighth.
and I'm just meeting you this year
Yeah,
out of your
and
8 years. Like it's
and
crazy.
that's because I was on the grind and I didn't know that this world had existed because I thought I was on this playing field all by myself until I want to say maybe 3 years ago when I met 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 years now, maybe it's 4 years. When I met Corey of Black Podcast Association. I was
Uh,
on Facebook fishing for where are my people? Where are people like me? Because I'm in the sea of white folks in podcasts,
yep, that's a lot of them.
and I was in that sea, and I was battling with them. But then I was like, okay, I did not, and I was, but when I looked up Black podcasts, they never popped up on the SEO. They were never top ranked. It was very difficult, and when you did find them, it wasn't the ones out. It was like a news anchor with a podcast. You know what I mean? It was nobody that I really wanted to pay attention to.
Right,
So I
right.
went on Facebook, and then there was a group, and once I met the group, then I started understanding the business behind this. And that's what I wanted to get from the group. And then I started to go to podcast movement and I understand the business of podcasting. So yeah, I'm here 8 years in. Everything is as they said it would do, is working. And I also keep close friends. I actually did a podcast with the senior director of Edison Research. I just did that,
Nice.
so I talked to him. You know what I mean? So I can understand this game, and he games me very well. So that podcast is going to be coming out soon. So yeah, it takes time, and you got to put a lot of hours in. What keeps you motivated? I'm gonna ask this question a little early. Normally, I ask this question later in my podcast, but
Oh no, it's
I want
fine.
us to have a conversation, please. And you ask me questions like we had last time. I just want to run on from that last podcast we had.
Oh yeah, no
What
worries.
keep? What are the top 3 things that keep you motivated
Oh,
to keep podcasting? Let's talk about
yeah.
podcasting first.
So first off, you gave me one thing. Now it's 3. But
My bad. My bad. It's 3. I was gonna say
okay.
1, but then I
Right.
said,
I
you
was
know
like,
what? My
get to
question is
3.
normally like 3. So let me
Right.
ask the 3.
Uh no, I was just messing with your side.
No, it's all good. It's
But
all good.
when it comes to the 3 things that keep me going, number 1 is that my um first off is the listeners. They're
Mm.
the ones that keep me going. They the ones who give me the feedback like, hey man, this episode really vibed with me. This one is the one that I needed to hear today. Even though I recorded it, it's like 3 episodes ago, but the one time that they listened to it, they was like, yeah, this is the one for me. And that's what I hope that every episode will be for somebody. Number two is the guests that I have on the show. The reason why I try to keep going for the guests is because I see a lot of great podcasts that only have like maybe 5, maybe 10 episodes. And they have some of the guests are really good. And I'm like, bro, how did you have that person on your show and you stopped? That's it.
Well, you know
Like,
why? That might have been their friend, somebody they knew close. So
yeah,
that's that
the
one.
network. Yeah.
It's a network, and then now you got to go fish for it. That's why shooting so high. But finish yours, and I'm gonna add
Okay.
to what you just said. It's great.
Number three, that keeps me going is it's just where it's taking me. You know,
Mhm,
like
mhm,
from a network perspective,
mhm,
but also to the point now, like
mhm.
even my job is paying me to create an internal podcast for the job. So
Congratulations, man.
thank you, thank you. And it's like, these are the three things, like it's just where it can take me. And that's the way how I kind of approach the life now. It's like, yes, I can breathe. Yes, I can walk, talk, and I can do some push-ups. What are you really utilizing everything at your ability to its fullest? Because, we
Mhm.
hear about health as wealth, but are you really taking that to account? Granted, I know I'm not. I'm trying. I need to
You
get
have
better.
to. You need
Right.
to. You have
I
to.
need to. Yeah, yeah. I
It's
need to.
that's I had just had a health scare. And let me
Mhm.
tell you, you think it's not a big deal until you're there. You're like, and it wasn't really a bad health scare. It was like, okay, I did the doctor procedure that caused a bad infection. Infection was
Mhm.
terrible. It scared the hell out of me. But I'm like, man, that can happen at any time. So I would say,
Yeah.
and if I was someone that was ill and I had bad anything, I may not have made it. So health is really important, man. Be on it. Don't skimp on it. You got to do something. I say jump rope.
I like it because one of the things that scared me, the reason why I didn't do a show, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, was because I had like a mouth infection. I was like, "Yo, where the heck this thing come from?" I couldn't record, I could barely talk, and everything like that. So I was thinking like, I really need to build my backlog back up. I need to go ahead on and get all the information that I really want to share with my audience. Get those things pre-recorded because in case something happens to me, I can say like, you know what, I did my best.
Mhm,
Everything's out there for you guys. And, whether the connections, whatever, and I can die happily. So
mhm,
that's how I feel about like with the people that I meet. It's like, hey, let's maximize the time that we have
mhm.
so that because we never know, life happens.
Life happens, man. Life
Mm,
happens. But I'm all about that wallet, and I'm all
hey,
about everyone podcasting and getting paid for it. I'm
right.
100% for that. I'm 100% for that. So let me ask you this question: what is the most important financial lesson you've learned that you wish you knew when you were 18?
Not to move in with somebody that you don't plan to marry.
Mm, that's
That's my
that's some
that's my
that's
biggest
some
lesson.
real that's some real.
I mean, that's the biggest lesson because there's
That's a great one.
so many teens are out there getting married. Well, not teens, I would say early 20s. And they
Mhm,
getting married. And you sit there and think for a moment, like, hey, have you really thought about things all the way through? Have
mhm,
you taken a vacation with this person yet?
mm,
Because I would say that's another thing too, is before you get married, is actually go on vacation with each other. Don't
mhm.
let the honeymoon be the first vacation.
Yeah,
That's
terrible idea.
right, because that person might be an introvert, not introvert, but like a homebody. They just want to go to do history sites and just don't even want to go to the beach or anything like that. But yet
What's
you
up,
want to go out and
Marjorie?
party.
Yeah, well,
Hey,
I saw my girl like Marjorie. What's up, girl?
what's
I see your
going on?
channel. Your channel's killing it.
Right, you want to give her some air ones? I got you.
Oh, there
There you
you
go.
go. There
Right
you
up.
go. There you go. Hey, I had him in the post. Yo,
All right,
but you're so right, man. That's a great one.
yeah,
Do not do that,
yeah,
gentlemen and ladies. Get to know one another. I
yeah.
most definitely tell people that all the time.
Oh, I must hit a
You-
pain point. Okay, let's see what. Can you pull it
Marjorie
up on the click on it so it can pull up on the screen?
on the screen. If I click on it, let me hit
Yeah, when you
show.
click
Yeah.
on it, it will show up. There you go. Okay. So my husband and I did not move in together before marriage. We hated it at first, but it was yeah. Because I mean, imagine your toothbrush be on one side of the sink and you come back, it's on the other side. You're like, yo,
Ah.
Who touched my toothbrush?
Man, I'm
Why
all
while
man.
the milk being drunk? You know what I'm saying?
I made that mistake. I made that mistake early in life, but I was fortunate enough that she couldn't stand me. She got tired of me and ran away. I was like, she was like, I can't stand this mother effer. Wow.
Right.
Saved my life, man. Let me tell you, dodged the bullet.
Oh man.
Dodged
Yeah.
the big bullet. But it's all good, man. You know, that's true. You should most definitely, because it would affect your finances. You
Oh
would
yeah.
be, you'd be ass out at the
Well,
end
that's
of
the
it.
only reason like I was able to even start my show. Was because of that error. I would say
Mm,
not an error, but that lesson learned.
mm,
That I had to be on my own. And I realized that I grow the most internally when I'm by myself than when I'm actually with somebody because I'm actually showing, I'm
mhm,
doing all the fun things. But when the lights off, nobody's watching, and I'm
mhm.
doing my own thing, I feel as though I'm on a whole nother trajectory. So I
Yeah,
try to look at
yeah.
myself like a plant. You know what I'm saying? Like plants, if you think about it, like they grow the most at night. During the
Yeah.
daylight, they're like la la. And then next thing you know, you're like, man, you grow like a weed.
My
All you
favorite
gotta do.
plant. Favorite plant that grows at night. You need to give it 12 hours of darkness.
There you go. 12.
It's the greatest plant on earth, man. So what do you think we as African American, as brown folk, as minorities need to know in our finances? What's something that we're lacking on?
We're lacking on taking action on the knowledge that we have.
Mm,
Um, because when you think about it, yes, a lot of people know that they're supposed to save when they earn,
mhm,
but also depending on the community that you grew up in, and depending on where majority of us are at and where they're at in their finances, usually we already behind the legal 8 ball,
mhm.
and because of that, um, it just got to change the way of perception to hey, do we need fresh clothes every time we start a new school year? Do we need fresh clothes coming
Mhm,
back from spring break? Do we
mhm.
need fresh clothes coming for Easter, Christmas, and stuff like that? Do you need the latest shoes? I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to grow out of them. I mean, who you
Well, if they're children, the
right, the
children, yeah,
children, but
yeah.
some adults too. I mean, I've seen a lot of adults. They was like, "Hey, I deserve this." Like, but then you crying that you got other things and on top of it. So,
One thing that I've learned is to start saving more was to buy quality up front.
mhm.
Buy a quality shirt, buy quality clothing. And I have 3 boys. I'm not going to buy each of them new outfits. They're right behind me. So I bought quality clothing in the beginning. And I mean, and I've tested clothing with it. And it taught me, okay, this is a better brand. This is a better buyer. And also, besides that, I also go by buyer and where it's made, where it's manufactured. When I
Mm,
started doing it that way, now I'm purchasing better quality. It's lasting me a lot longer and it looks great.
right.
But you may have to pay a little bit more up front, but understand the long haul. And then another thing I did was buy an older vehicle and just put everything in it brand new. Just repair it, like
Mm,
as if you
okay,
went back
yeah,
to
yeah,
the shop. Yeah, new engine, new shocks, new front red, new differential, whatever you got to do to put it back to brand new. I call it wasping, like the wasps do. I know you
I
must
like
know
it.
of them. You know what I mean? You've heard of the
Mhm.
wasp.
Yep.
That's how I've started doing that because it's not coming in like I would like it. You know what I mean? Not yet,
Yeah.
at least. So I got to maintain what I have, and that's been a way of saving.
And I could tell you that it's $10,000 to redo a car is a lot cheaper than $30,000 of a brand new one.
And interest, and it's gonna depreciate.
Yep. When that $10,000 that you put into that new vehicle, at least you got another 10, 15 years out of it.
Yeah,
Easy.
easily. You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
And the stuff that was made back then is better. It's better
Oh
quality. You
yeah.
hit that, you're gonna your car's gone because these new cars are made of plastic.
Right.
Like the hood of one of my vehicles, the hood is lead. Like literally,
What?
it was
It's so
lead.
heavy.
It's heavy as hell, dude. Don't get your finger underneath it. It's going to take it off.
Oh jeez.
Oh man. So do you have any questions? Like you said, this
Oh
is
yeah.
our
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, let's go back to, what keeps you going cuz I mean, you talked about your kids, but podcasting wise for 8 years,
Mhm.
um what kept you going for 8 years though?
my wife and I had this conversation today about all the businesses that I've started.
Mhm.
I'm a serial entrepreneur, and everything has always failed, except for I've always learned. But everything has failed in regards to, did it bring in? I'm looking for cash flow that works on its own, that's just coming in. You know what I mean? Other than real estate, what else is there? You know what I mean? There's other
Mhm.
things, but what product can I create that's like Apple? What's my iPod? You know what I mean? What's my so podcasting began working for me. It began working for me. Marjorie, thank you for keeping your eyes right. I know that's right. Let me. I got a big
Yeah.
girl. That's my girl. Marjorie reacts. Make sure you check out her YouTube channel. We're over here trying to get this YouTube dollars, guys.
Hey, we gotta get it.
Hey, let's get it. Let's get it. But where was I at again? I was bigger than
Oh,
her, but I forgot.
you were just talking about like what keeps you going with the podcast. Of course, your failed businesses, in
Yeah, my failed
podcasting.
businesses, man. Podcasting kept working. It worked. It started. I saw it working, and also it was out of the kindness of my heart. I wanted to assist people in my local market, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, that have never been in front of a camera, that never had the opportunity to be in front of the lights, to be videotaped, and to practice, to get themselves prepared for this digital world that was coming. And especially the youth, because there's a lot of inner city kids that rap, make music, they're videographers, they're dancers, whatever they were. I wanted to bring them in and give them this opportunity to highlight their brand. And then with doing so, I started thinking about entrepreneurship and businesses, and that started flocking, started coming in. So that kept me going, man. It worked. People liked it. It's doing well on social media. I reached so many people, and then on top of that, my social media skills enhanced. I always had an eye for social media. Always had a thing for social media. So podcasting allowed me to really, okay, how can I get this marketed for free and still use a skill that I do have and make it just different. And that's why my social media game is way different than you'll see for any podcaster. It's completely different. And some people have asked me, I've had someone ask me, what does it have to do with podcasting? And I say nothing at all. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you're watching me when I post now. And you're like, oh,
Mhm.
it's associated with all gas, no brakes. We're just so all gas, no brakes. We're funny. We're having a good time. We're trying to make money. You know what I'm saying? We are making money for some of us that are on the show, or I've had millionaires on the show. So that's what keeps me going, man. Just all of that.
Yeah. So after doing all of this, where do you feel as though you want to take it next?
My goal is to be Universal Studios, be Paramount. I want to be what Tyler is doing. I want that to occur, even if at a small scale. You know what I mean? I'm all about
Yeah.
keeping it micro. It's okay. Micro could be macro, especially if you spread it out correctly.
Right.
So yeah, I want to do that. I want to, but for podcasting, for movies, people that have, like Tubi's doing, help people create their art and
Those
help them from the
TVs
ground
are
up.
TV is hilarious. Dude. I just
It
seen
is. It
clips.
is.
I
It is.
don't have it. I just seen clips. So
Some people are trying hard. Some people are putting their all out effort into it, and some of the stuff is quality. Because if you think about it, Friday would have been considered a Tubi movie. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's true.
But that was
And
such good quality. He went all in and did it correctly. It shot forward.
right. So I mean, right, for those of you who are watching, I'm making a mocktail mimosa over here. It's like I'm trying to finish this bottle. This is what happens when you go to Costco and you buy.
A million bottles of
Yeah.
orange juice.
So I've been drinking this thing for like the past 2 weeks. It feels like it's
Hilarious.
every other day. I'm just randomly like, yeah, let me get some more. But one of the things about going through this whole podcast thing and like you want to build out that universal process, do you like feel as though from your perspective, because you say you keeping up with how things are going forward, do you feel that podcasting is still in its infancy or is it done?
No, it only started maybe 30 years ago, when the first RSS feeds were turned, I think, from blogging to audio and video. I actually spoke with the senior director of Edison We just did a live a few days ago, and he said we're more like at the middle age. That's where he would say, and I felt like it's at its infancy for myself personally, because it's at its middle age in regards to the big boys, and them big boys were attached to multimedia firms. But
Right.
I'm talking about for us small fries who were nobody, who are somebodies. And we not only are podcasters, we're content creators, we're influencers. That the title is growing. And now influencers are like, hold on, I got a podcast. And what I love when I
And
see
now they
that,
do.
but I love when I see that, because I'm like, they're going to stop.
Yep.
They're going to quit. When they realize now you're spending money and you're not content creating and you're burning more than you were just bringing in a moment ago,
Yep.
they'll stop.
Because that quality is not easy to produce. Because I was listening to the Daily recently, because a couple of my coworkers say like, "Oh man, you got to check out the Daily. It's like one of the top quality podcasts." Whatever. I checked it out, and it was actually pretty interesting. It was cool, and I was thinking about the editing that goes into that style of show.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It's for one person to do, bro. You be there all day.
It's all day thing,
and that's a lot of money being burnt. And that's where I feel like the small podcasters are going to kill, because our solopreneurs, I'm not truthfully a solopreneur, because I do have a team, which is fortunate for me. I'm very fortunate that I have some people I can rely on for certain things. But at first, being a solopreneur is difficult.
Yeah,
AI helps tremendously, but like our guy we met at podcast movement, audio engineer on a true crime podcast. I'll have him on the show soon. Him and his partner create that show. He's competing against shows that have 20 people creating a show, and he's toppling them.
Yeah,
that's what I love about the realm we're in right now with podcasting. So I love when those guys take on podcasting, and the influencers and the sports players, because the more they speak about podcasting, the more people we get to podcast, and we've been in the game this long, it bumps us up, because we're on top of that layer.
Yeah. And like they say, like we've been doing such great quality work, but this is also a popularity contest. So we just got to get in front of the right people, the right crowd at the right time. And when people talk about luck, this ain't luck. Like you say, in that struggle all the time. Some of my shows don't even get posted, or some of them be like super short, like the one I just put out, because it was a snippet.
Post them.
I'm out.
Post them. Right. Post them. Post them. Flood the algorithm. Post them. I post, bro.
I know you post. I was like, man, I seen somebody actually post the Brown Ambition with Tiffany Aliche and Mandy. I can never remember her last name, but they put out like 4 videos in today, and I'm like, how?
They have an editor. They
do have an editor.
Yeah. Well, they're also using AI. I say once you start bringing money in from your content creation, hire an editor. So right now, I am looking for that person, because it'll take some weight off of my shoulder. And even if I'm not bringing in too much and it comes out a little bit out of my pocket, the work that they do should bring me back more in return, because of the way I have things situated. If it's done properly, it should pay for itself.
Yeah. And because I want to go back to hosting platforms, because it's like over, like, I didn't really realize this, over like 150 hosting platforms.
There's tons, yeah.
Which one are you using?
Man, God, I don't like plugging people, man. They don't pay for that shit, bro.
I mean, they don't, but I mean, because like, say some, because we talk about podcasts,
but to help somebody, I'm gonna give you my favorite 3, because I'm not gonna plug one without plugging these others.
Gotcha.
There's Dystopia, which is a Black-owned podcasting hosting platform. Shout out my guy over there, the CEO. That's my dude. I'm gonna have him on the podcast soon. There's also Podbean as a hosting platform, and I understand Buzzsprout is a popular one as well. So you all that want to start podcasting, look into those 3. They're great. I'm not going to plug which one until one of those pay me more. That's how that works.
Fair enough. So I'll go with my top 3 so far that I've been looking at, that I'm contemplating on going to. So it's like Red Circle. Mm-hmm. You got Captivate, and then there is the one I'm currently using, which is like Spotify.
Mm.
And so out of those, the free one, Spotify was my first love, but I'm just kind of upset what they did once they took over Anchor. That's a whole nother ordeal.
Yeah, it's I didn't name it in my top 3. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? They're going through a lot. They're going
They
through a
are
lot. They're going through a lot because there was primarily music, and podcasting is this thing that woke up out of nowhere.
a
And
secondary
then
premiere.
yeah, completely. And now to catch up for even Apple, to the point Apple just goes, I don't care. I'm not touching it.
Yep.
Apple podcast. Apple doesn't even do
That's
anything
true.
with it. But everybody else is jumping on. YouTube, from what I understand, is number one hosting platform for podcasting, according to Edison research. And I believe Amazon Music is like number 4, but they're catching up right now because I'm going international with my podcast, and I'm gonna tell you, Amazon is giving me amazing numbers
Really?
internationally. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to double check my numbers from Amazon. Well, because I am on Spotify, they don't give you good analytics. So this is the reason why I ask about
Those
what's
top
going up.
3 I'm telling you about give you good analytics, man. They give you great
Gotcha.
analytics. And the first 2 are my favorite in regards to analytics.
Okay. Thanks for that. And for those of you who are new to podcasting and like we talk about the back end stuff, because I could talk about this all day. Uh is when you're looking for analytics and like you just trying to look up a podcast, I'm gonna throw out a couple of tools that I use to kind of look up new shows or whatever. So you can look up listen notes. Uh and you can also try out obviously Pod News,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's Chartable.
Chart.
So
And also don't forget the Black Podcast Association has a newsletter as well.
okay. Well, I wasn't talking about newsletters. I'm like to
Oh, they
look
said,
up
oh, they said,
to
oh,
look
they
up
said to do the
podcasts.
research on podcasts. They do the same. They have a
Oh, they did it.
newsletter and they
Oh,
place, Black
yeah.
podcasters to check out.
Oh, okay. I mean, thank you for
Because
plug.
most of us
Yeah,
aren't on those on the new on those other ones. When you pull it up, we're like the top 200.
top 2000. I mean,
Man,
there's so
it's so
many
funny.
go.
I went on one platform, right, and it had two Caucasian ladies on it, and they were talking about romance and life. And I'm looking at their download numbers, and it's showing across my whatever streaming platform I use on my cell phone. I have Pandora, I think, or whatever. And it shows their podcast. I look at their downloads, like 200 podcast downloads, like forever. And I'm like, dude, I'm way above that. And they're being seen right now. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. It's crazy. That's why I got to shout them people out. I got to shout us out.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm actually on the Black Podcaster Association right now, trying to figure out how can I sign up for this newsletter.
I'll email it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll sign up from there.
Yeah.
Because I got my own newsletter, but I mean, I do highlight guests that's been on the show. But I'm actually thinking about start putting into like, hey, other podcasts to check out or people that I've met, and just kind of do that as like free advertising and backlinks as well. So yeah, trying to work that out.
Well, let's talk about your money management game. Let's talk about that. So what is the biggest misconception people have about money management?
That they can't do it. That's the biggest one. Because they always think they need to hire somebody. Yeah. They always think they got to hire somebody for it. One of the things that got me on track was that I was able to sit down. Like I said, I got to be alone, got to be by myself. I sat down with, those free calendars that people have out in the offices or whatever. I just snatched out one of those bad boys, paper to pen. And because I was able to do paper to pen, I was able to put it up on my wall and actually visually see when my bills are due. I was able to visually see when I get paid. And then also because I wrote big inside those squares, I was able to see, how much money I need to pay for these minimum balances across. Because remember, I was just doing a base level benchmark to see where I was at. And because I was able to see where I was at, I was able to say, okay, this is how much money I have left over from this particular check. What other bill can I pay with this? But then I could flip up a couple pages and be like, okay, my biannual insurance is due because I do my insurance every 6 months for car insurance. And then also for those of you who have home owners insurance, those are annually, and you need to make sure when those are, and your taxes are done biannually too. So you need to know when those things are coming out, and also your subscriptions. So because I was able to do that, it helped me out so much. So that's why I created my own budget calendar, so
Mm.
that help people out to go through the same process I did. But instead of doing all the calculations in this little small block, I created the extra page above the calendar piece so that you can go ahead on and track your expenses, paper to pen, right up top. And you actually can see your progress as you're going along.
You got to share that with me. You got to share that with me. That was great, man. That was great information. I'm a dry erase board guy and a big
Mhm.
dry erase calendar guy. I got one in my little office area, and I never thought about putting it. I do my finances. I sit down with everything the entire year, and I'm starting to do it biannually, and I just run through everything. I mean, every expense. However, to write it down on my dry erase board, you just gave me something I have not done, and that's something I'm going to start doing, because that makes complete sense when you see it. Just like when you write your notes and your calendar appointments, you're prepared for it. For some reason, you actually accomplish those goals,
Yeah.
and even if you do not, you set it for the date to accomplish it. That's some
Yeah.
great advice.
And on top of that, like, so instead of Marjorie, you say you want to steal it. You don't have to steal it. I actually put everything together in a PDF format. So I actually kept the calendars blank for that reason, so that you can start whenever you start. It's only $5 on my website. It's just aboutthatwallet.com/shop. And you can actually just get it right then and there. It's only $5. You can download it, and did a 202 underscore. So you can just go down and just jump right on in. Everybody needs a CPR class.
The
Hey,
CPR,
yeah,
yeah.
they ain't lying about that because that's something. But yeah, as far as a money thing, I think that's one of the things that I say that we kind of lack on, and just kind of think you need an expert to do this. Even at the conference, I actually talked to a lady. She was like, "You're gonna be upset with me." I was like, "Why would I be upset with you?" She was like, "I don't know what my expenses are in my household." And I was like, "Oh." She was like, "Yeah, my husband tells me what I can and can't spend." And all
Mm.
she does is just ask him like, "Hey, how much can I want to buy this? Can I buy this today?"
I would
And
be like, I'm a mind my business, lady. You better get out of here with that. Hey, you got it. You go. She went home. I was like, who, what?
what? You got
What?
like Lord John. What?
You went up and messed up his whole game.
Like
He was
what?
he was probably giving a few hundred. He probably stacking, dog.
Right.
But I didn't want to cut, and that made me laugh. That was hilarious.
Oh, you good. So I told her, you know, it's okay that you don't want to touch the money, but at minimum, you at least want to know where it's at and how much you have.
You want to know?
Yeah, because people I've interviewed, this one lady, she's actually helping out elderly people, because she's elderly now, but she lost her husband, she lost her brother, she lost her father, she lost her uncle, she lost all the men in her life. But then she has all these women that are also in her family now that don't know where the money is at, because, traditionally, the men were controlling the money and the women were just taking care of the household and so forth. That was their I keep personal finance personal. I'm not judging or anything like that. But what she said was she wanted to her mission now is to make sure that she teaches women how to handle the money. And I was like, I appreciate that mission, because the thing about having that finances, it's like it's a two-way street. We all make the money, so we should also learn how to manage that. Now, it's good to know, like, hey, you're not good with it. It's okay to say that. However, I don't want you to dwell in that, because then you become that. Just say, like, hey, I'm not there yet. So let's go ahead on and learn it and get better at it. Start
Mm,
small. Like,
mm.
put yourself on $100 budget. You're like, hey, I want to use this for the rest of the week for lunch. And if
I
I
was
can
on
save
that
some
budget
money,
without even knowing it one time.
really?
Man, shoot, man. When I was coming up, man, I put myself through college, bro.
Mm,
I was
nice.
on those budgets.
Yeah, but
Fit-
they work. They work.
They do work.
Um,
I mean, you learn to cook. You learn to stay at home. And actually, that's
You
actually
learn to
better
stay
for you.
home.
I mean,
That's a cool.
well, not stay home, but just cook at home. How
I know
about
what you
that?
mean.
And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
even better for you because the food out here will kill you anyway.
There you go.
It'll
There
kill
you
you
go.
anyway. So, what drove you to go podcasting and finance? That's my niche. That's what I'm going to do.
Because it was an interest. Nobody around me was talking about it. And my friends and family, they just got tired of me talking about it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a podcast. The very first podcast I ever listened to was Earn Your Leisure. When I first started, because I started in 2020. I listened to their show in 2019. And so that's when they kind of started. I think they started early 2019, if not 2018. And it was their earlier shows. And then I started listening to Jamila Safront, which I was able to meet her in person at FinCon. Her podcast is called Journey to Launch. And so just listening to them, I was like, cool. It's good that to see people that look like me talking about finance. However, I felt like there was a gap because they were talking to other football players and stuff like that, basketball players. That's what Earning Your Leisure started off with. Then you got Journey to Launch. She's talking to mostly women and stuff like that, which is great. However, for me, I'm like, all right, well, where are my people at? Like, where are the guys who are like, hey, we up here, we doing okay, but we feel like we could do better. And that's where I felt like my voice could add a little bit extra in there. And that's where that came from. From as I'm learning, I started talking about it. Cause like even I think my next episode for Tuesday, which I gotta record, is talking about the 72T. And this code is just I think it's an IRS code. 72T is like, you know, you got your 401k for retirement, but this one's called a 72T. The 72T, for those of you who've been working for a long period of time, like almost 20 years in a company, if you work for the government, and you got like 1.5, $2.5 million hanging around in your retirement accounts, but yet you don't want to get penalized when you take the money out. So what you do is file a 72T, and that you have to fill out the paperwork or whatever, but it's required minimum distributions that you have to take out every year without getting penalized. So you can actually start living off of your retirement account early before you get like you don't get penalized, but it's up to like age 59 or something like that. And that's when they cut it off. And then now you got to actually do the distributions and so forth. But until then, that is a tool that a lot of people don't talk about. I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. I only heard it from one podcast. And I listen to a lot of finance podcasts. So it's like nobody else is talking about it. So this is something that I want to bring to the table to showcase to our community that we have something like this available. Oh man, Marjorie, thank you for hanging out with us.
Yes, yes, we had a great time with you. Thank you. Yo, peace. Have a good one.
Yep.
So, what was your biggest financial mistake, and what did you learn from it?
Well, the term mistake, I always look at it as like a hindsight 2020 because at the time it felt good with what I knew at the time and what I was feeling like. So, like they say, 80% of the finances is about feeling, 20% is actually about the numbers. So, yeah, my first money mistake, I would go back to, moving in with somebody, didn't plan to marry. And so that was one. Yeah, that was my biggest mistake, really.
Really, they going back to that one again?
Yeah,
Nothing.
outside of that,
Like,
I mean, there's other minor ones. I mean,
yeah, but that okay.
Yeah.
That's so an investment. Let's talk about an investment. What's the
Okay.
worst investment mistake you made? Because that fellas, if y'all ain't understanding right now, don't move in. Marry that person, date that person. I tell people you got to understand all the movement of that woman. The gross stuff you think is gross, and that's not gross. That's man stuff.
Yeah.
Understand you got to deal with all aspects, the mind, the ups, the downs, If you ain't never dealt with that, man, that will mess your day up. So you
Yeah.
watch, you hear my man over here, he back again on don't move in. I tell people don't get married till they're in their 30s. I know some
Oh,
women may not like that, but I tell a lot of men, you'll get in your mid-30s, man, have your shit together. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? That you make a decision according to what you want. Don't just jump on in. But anyway, I
Yeah.
don't get into relationship stuff,
So,
but yeah.
but I would
Investment,
say I
investment.
agree. The investments I would say is not investing into my 401k at my
Mm,
earlier jobs. That would be one in hindsight because
mm,
you know, when I was working at Best Buy a long time ago,
mhm,
they had an employee buyback program for their stocks
mhm,
or whatever. I didn't
mhm,
know anything about it. I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool. I got bills to pay." I could have easily put in $5 every paycheck. Just
mhm,
started with $5 because I was
mhm.
young. I was like maybe in my early 20s during that time frame.
But
And
who were
then
you expecting to have taught you that then? I understand we have those mistakes. I myself have those foolish mistakes, but no, if no one in your circle is giving you that information, and I'm just bringing this up because I want people to show themselves grace when it
oh, you
comes to
good,
things
yeah.
like that. Because if no one's in your circles doing for it, how do you even know to look for it? How do you even understand it? However, I always say, even though you're in that state of ignorance in life, keep reading. Reading will lead for somehow, some way would lead you to understanding finance. Even if you're reading about fictional stuff or non, even that book you may one day just go, okay, I got to get my game up because I got to afford more stuff or better books.
Right. So, one of the things that when it comes to finding the, as you can say, the next step forward in the fog of life, I will say that. And I'm gonna say life is a fog. However, somebody else had took that journey already into one of the small areas that you're interested in. And one of the things that I did not take advantage of, even though it's not in my circle talking about it, my job was talking about it. I did
Mm-hmm.
not invest in myself and my time
Mm-hmm.
to say, like, hey, you know what? I really want to learn more about the stock option process. Who do I need to talk to? Is there an HR person I need to call on my day off? Do I just need to sit down at work and make the phone call? What is that? What does that process take? I did not take it seriously. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, as a hindsight 2020 from an investment standpoint, because who knows where I could have been in actually having that 401k started back then that I could have easily transferred to multiple IRAs, which is an individual retirement accounts on my own instead of using the employer's 401k.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a slight difference between the two, but yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
You got to watch. They need to watch and listen to your podcast. Your podcast is a video podcast as well.
Yes, sir.
They need to watch and listen to your video podcast, an audio podcast. There's no reason for you not to be listening to this young brother right here. No reason. He's trying to teach us how to get our money right. I gotta get on that money game correctly, man.
Yeah. So
I
what do
have
you want to know? What is your biggest fog in finances? Like what is something that you want to know in finance?
great question. My only answer right now is I don't have a question currently because I know I can go read about it, learn it somehow, some way. I'm right now on capturing the whale, the big payday. That's actually what I'm currently on. I'm fixated on because I've been an entrepreneur all my life, and as an entrepreneur, you can't keep calling yourself an entrepreneur without ever having a big goddamn attack, a big win. Eventually, you just look like a guy with a bunch of dreams. So it's true. I keep it 100, man. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm a competitor, and I don't like a participation trophy. I don't want a participation trophy. Keep that
That's why I
shit
call
to
myself
yourself.
a host of the podcast. Yes,
Mhm.
I'm the owner of it and everything like that, but at the end of the day, I'm
You're
doing
employed by it.
everything. Right.
But you're employed by it
Yeah.
because it's bigger than you. It's a business, and
Hmm.
you got to write that off. You know what I mean? I'm all about. So I don't have a question because I know you have to do well with your money. You have to leave it for the future. You should let it grow, compound, all that good stuff. Uh, my current thing right now is to capture the big payday. And that's what I'm super interested in. That's why I love interviewing people like yourself, other entrepreneurs, other content creators, because it gives me ideas how to rope it in, how to also stay motivated.
Yeah. I mean, staying motivated as an entrepreneur, like you can't, as you could say, most of us can't be contained in the normal day to day work,
At
like
all.
9 to 5, because sometimes it always feel like you're trying, you're doing all these cool things and everything like that, and then they just don't see the vision. And it's like, yo, we can go so much further with this if you just say yes. Like,
But they don't. They're not supposed to see the vision because remember they're under a corporate structure. And that's somebody else's business.
yep.
At the end of the day, that's somebody else's business. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're in somebody else's business, hard.
Well, the cool thing about being inside somebody else's business, you got to then turn it into like, hey, they your customer as much as you their employee.
Mhm,
And what I mean by that is like when you go to these meetings, you can ask those questions because you're going to do the same thing when you become an entrepreneur. So, hey, tell me, what do you really want out of this project? Oh,
mhm,
so, what do you want people to feel when they finish using your product? Because
mhm,
you as the employee, you got to produce something.
mhm,
And
mhm,
them as a manager or supervisor, they got to do something. They want something out of
mhm.
you. So,
Yeah,
in other words, we got to ask them, like, hey, how can we work this out? How can we get better as a team? How can we make that 1% increase for the business so all of us can move forward together? I
very
love
true.
leadership. So, I've been in leadership
No,
for a while.
you're
So,
100% correct.
yeah.
I love leadership as well. I like to consider myself a servant leader.
Yep.
However, I'm at the point where I've gained enough experience that I don't want them as my customer anymore.
Okay.
Uh, I'm firing them
That's
because
fair.
it's just I'm an entrepreneur at heart and I've got that experience. That's a young man's game. I even say that experience that you have to gain, and if you
Hmm.
don't get to the level you want to be within the corporate environment that you're in, eventually you just go, it's a young man's game. You can have that because
Yep.
I know I should be a C member here. I know I could I could work any role and just disseminate it, but
Right.
whatever. We got to move forward. We got to keep going.
Yes,
But
sir.
man, do you have any more questions?
I always got tons of questions. So when it comes to finances, what was your first fear? Like, what are you running from financially?
I'm not running from anything. I think, like I said, my fixation because I'm a fixate type of person is the whale. I've seen wins here and there. To some, they may think that was to some it might have been big. I've held some good wins. But and even in the corporate environment, I've worked. I'll give you an example in my just corporate world. I made a firm in one. I used to manage properties
Yeah.
for internet, selling internet services within hotels, dormitories, and convention spaces. So when you come in with a conference, like we went to a conference, you have to buy the internet package there to feed everyone internet,
Yep.
and that's not free. Some places it's free, some places it's not. The people that the hotel that the big wigs are very intelligent to charge you for that. So I would sell that, upgrade the equipment, make sure it was powerful, all that good stuff. Anyway, long story short, one location that I went to because they didn't know how to sell it, he was giving away for free. He didn't even know how to figure out how to sell it, how to separate bandwidth. He just didn't
Mhm.
care. So they made maybe 250K that year for that location. By the time I was done and I organized it for one location, I think I pulled three. Not I think I know I pulled $3 million in sales. I made more money than their banquets in
What?
internet
Wow.
than their banquet. So I understand this sales game, and I've done it for so many, and that's just one property.
Right.
There was only one property. I covered the North Mid Atlantic region down to the Southern region was my territory. So I made people money. You know what I mean? And I'm an entrepreneur. I went to college for this. I have a degree in audio engineering, show production. I have all this information. Now it's time to put all that I've learned and prove it. So I'm at prove it stage. And prove it stage for me as an entrepreneur is capturing the big whale.
Mm. I like that. So, now that you've gotten it and you understand that new mind shift, then I mean, what habits do you feel is going to take you to the next level then? Like what do you got to stay up on?
Consistency is key.
Mm.
And sell, sell. Don't give your product out for free. My product is no longer free. I had a conversation with a C member of an AI firm recently, and they tried to sell me on affiliate marketing, and I laugh at affiliate marketing.
Right.
I'm like, I affiliate marketed for companies when I was an employee. That's because I was always been in sales. So I got my salary and then I got my bump. I got my bonus, and I negotiated that as well. So if I'm selling for you, I already got to get a payment. That's how I stand. You got to pay me to sell, and then if it goes further than what we've even expected, I expect payment for that. So I make sure that my product is not cheap and it is not free. I'm doing the Jay-Z and the who was my man that just passed away, rest in power, to young brother out of LA.
Um,
Uh
fat. No.
no. He wow, the marathon. What is his name? How do I forget his name now? He had the song The
Nipsey
Marathon.
Hustle.
Nipsey. Yes.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to that brother. Nipsey Hustle. He sold his CDs for 10K.
Right.
To believed it. Jay-Z bought a 10K one.
Mhm.
And it sounds foolish and it sounds crazy to believe that somebody should do that. But my product and your product, you should feel that strong behind it. And I know I reach a market that people can't reach. I know I have them. I got them. And it's different. So, real
Hey,
numbers.
love it, man. That's a good way to end the show.
Yeah,
Not to say
yeah,
this.
most definitely.
I
Most
mean,
definitely.
because like you said, like you know your worth. You people gonna have to pay for it. Simple as that. Because like how you talked about quality of a product, more than likely people will pay for the product if it has more value than the money that's in their pockets.
That's
That's
it. That's it.
it.
That's cool, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you for coming through once again, man. Great conversation. I felt it just extended the conversation we had on your show, which
Oh
was
man.
dope. How's it doing for you? I was, I created the cover for the show, and I was looking to see if you created a cover. So I made
Uh,
one of my own, but I
yeah, I
mimicked similar
created a
to
cover
what
for ours.
I couldn't find it when I went
What?
onto your
It's a
page.
live. You gotta go in the live section.
Ah,
Yeah, because we went live, so that's why.
so
Let me.
send me that cover,
I'm about to.
and I'm going to use it for the cover for this episode.
You sure you want to use this? It's actually called the cover of it. It says "No breaks in life." That's why I called it.
Let me take a look at it. Let
All
me
right,
see.
let
You
me
want to
send
share it?
you. I'm gonna send you. Oh yeah, let me share my screen then.
You can share your screen. Yeah.
Yeah, let me go to my thing here because I want to just pull it up on a gotta see all my other stuff. Let's see, back to screen, present, share screen. There we go. All right, you just gotta add it up to the
Yep. Doing it now.
cool. So that's what I called it.
That's
That's
the cover right there,
that's the
man.
cover. Yeah.
No breaks in life, man. There
Yep.
are no breaks. That's exactly the God. That is exactly the damn truth, man.
I'm glad you appreciate it.
There are no
You
breaks in
approved it.
life, man. There are no breaks, man. I like that brown skin brother right there. He's clean. Got the pink heat hat. That's my dude right there, man. There are no breaks in life, man. You got to take them. And
Yeah,
people like us
we had
that
a good
don't,
time.
we don't normally just get it. You know what I mean? We got to
Yeah.
take it. So take it, take the financial dream you want, take the savings you want. You got to take it, man, because it's not going to be given to us. It's not going to be handed over. So, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. If you could let the people know once again your name, your podcast, where they could find it, and we start rolling out.
Yes, sir. So my name is Anthony Weaver. I'm the host of the About That Water podcast show. You can find me on all of your lovely podcast platforms you listen to at About That Wallet. So thank you again so much for
Everywhere.
having me on, man.
My pleasure. Everywhere, everywhere
everywhere.
about that wallet. This dude, man, get this guy, make this guy a millionaire along with us, guys. Make us millionaires. That's what we're putting out there, yo. Make us billionaires, trillionaires, because we're going to give you good content. You see what this is like, and we're doing this with minimal.
Yeah.
Imagine when we got the maximum. So shout out to my girl Quana Vollins. I want to big her up. Shout out to my boy OG_Frank. Him and I are going to start doing some political podcasts. Get ready for new political podcasts with my boy OG Frank. It's about to be psychotic. And then check out my boy Red Croc. Shout him out too, the comedian out here in the DMV doing his thing. And my partner in crime, Rex Carolus, my engineer and my partner in this all gas no breaks game. I'm Super Saiyan Santi, all gas no breaks. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know what's popping. Follow us everywhere, anywhere. Do your thing. Peace, guys.
Peace.
Peace, Anthony.